the way to school. Her death brings to 194 the number of people crushed to death by vehicles on one of Ghana's deadliest asphalt roads. Today on the Midday News, we examine how the worsening carnage on the 7-kilometer road is powering a class action. We'll be joined by our reporters on the ground, but first, here's an account of a protest by residents to demand bridges on the deadly highway are fixed.
Very, very chaotic.
Those are not sounds from a war zone. Those are sounds from Adenta here in Accra, where police officers use live rounds, tear gas and water cannons to disperse a crowd of residents simply fed up with the daily deaths on their roads. This was a spontaneous uprising. They burnt tires and blocked the Medina-Adenta highway. It all erupted when a young female student of the West Africa Senior High School was run over by a taxi. She is on the green track of the double-track system, which had just vacated. She died in the middle of the road after lying there without help for close to an hour. She was the 194th fatality.
We've not been able to establish contact with the parent. We know the student in question has a brother in the school, and we've had the number of the brother, but all attempts to get through to the brother has failed. We are still trying to establish contact with the family.
The police struggled, but in the end, they prevailed with tragic consequences. JoyNews captured videos of riot control officers brutally assaulting protesters. One 14-year-old boy is currently at the hospital battling for his life. He was driving home with her mother when a police officer shot into their vehicle. This is the uncle of the boy, Emmanuel Samson.
Police went at the car, fired, and the bullet went through the door, grazed her side, and lodged in the son's side. So they just arrived at Yahoo Clinic. You can imagine, a 14-year-old boy is in quite a bit of a shock.
The people of Adenta and Medina had been demanding the completion of 6-foot bridges on the highway for years. With no footbridges, they are forced to cross the road at the mercy of speeding cars. When JoyNews spoke to the Roads and Highways Minister, Kwesi Amakwata, this was his reaction a day before the riots.
I'm saying that it's not as easy as that. And that
so when are they expected to finish the footbridges?
I will speak to that when I come back. Daniel, please don't push me to. I say I will speak to that. Simple. When I come back. Thank you very much.
Very, very chaotic. Evan.
As the residents wait for the minister to return, many more souls continue to perish. The latest sparking yesterday's riots. Heavily armed police officers spent the night keeping the peace. But with no footbridges, the anger of the residents may have been suppressed for now. But for how long?
Evans Mensah's report there. Now, government has since announced it has deployed more police officers to assist persons who may be crossing the road. The residents are not excited and have indicated they will stage another protest on Monday.
We can't guarantee their safety. They shouldn't try coming here. And we are just waiting for the policemen. When they are out, we will block the road. Not 2 weeks. So I said, this is our footbridge now. As soon as they leave, we will block the road today. We are just waiting for them to leave.
Because this thing have to be completed for long ago, like I told you earlier. Despite the statement, you still go ahead with that planned demonstration on Monday? Yeah, because it's something that we've been forwarding to the government for long ago, and it's not been happening. So we've really taken it take the opportunity, like the incident at hand, to continue with it till we get it done.
But I don't know what is happening. Everybody is just there. They don't care. And this is about 195 people that has been knocked down on this stretch. You see, should all of us die before the government come to our way? This kind of politics, and we need to actually be thinking about it. It's life. We are the people who will stay alive and vote for you. And now if you kill all of us, who will vote for you tomorrow? This is the issue. So for we are just pleading. No matter how it is, there are certain things that can be put on hold so that this kind of footbridge can be constructed. They have already started it. It's just a matter of some few things to be done to it, then it is completed, and then we will use it in safety. This should not be politics.
We need him to man up and stand up and take responsibility for what has happened. It is under his stewardship that this has happened, and there is no other excuse around it. Whilst all of this was going on, I also believe that certain things that could have been done very easily, like the police deploying personnel to actually man these places, should have been something that we wouldn't have needed to ask or request for, since they are the same people who have been logging in all the accidents that have been coming in. On Monday the 12th at 5 a.m., we are going to hit the streets. Regardless of the promise that has been made, we still need to have the minister possibly come there himself and come and address us.
You heard there some residents of Adenta and Medina. Let's take you live to the residence of the student who was hit and killed yesterday. So my colleague Maxwell Agbagba was there and joins us in the studio. Maxwell, a lot of mourning in the home of the deceased. You've been there. Tell us more.
A lot of people met there were inconsolable. Scores of people had gathered at the family house to commiserate with the family. And in our interaction with the mother of the deceased, she told us that police officers are saying that they would have to complete some documentation before they can release the body to the family for burial. They would have loved to bury the deceased in accordance with their tradition, but it looks like they would have to wait a while. Let's listen to it.
She started school just recently. They are the first batch. She just finished. They finished on Wednesday. Her friend asked her to come to school because something was happening. That's how she lost her life. Her teachers and headmaster visited us. They have brought her phone and purse. The MP also called.
So that's the mother, Maxwell. But you've also been speaking to a friend, her friend, Mariam Kasim. Yeah. What did she actually tell you?
Well, she told me that the last conversation they had was about the green track and then the gold track. The deceased is actually on the green track. So she was teasing her friend who is on the gold track that while she'd be at home on vacation, she would be in school. She was also crying whilst we interacted, with her.
I'm born on the 13th of October and she was born on the 31st of October. So we're so close that the last time I even saw her was on Saturday, last week Saturday. And she was making fun of me that she has completed school and I'm now going to start. And before she left, I hit her and she was like...
She's on the green track and you're on the gold track.
Before she left, I hit her and she was like, Ilham, I won't mind you. I'll catch you next week. I won't find you next week. I'll see you next week.
So that's the last time you saw her?
That's the last time I saw her.
Maxwell?
Yeah. I've been speaking to, in the interaction with the mother, she talked about the fact that she was not even supposed to be in school that day. She had planned to visit Nima. Just when she was getting ready to leave, a call came through that there was an activity in the school, so she had to be there. And that's when this unfortunate incident happened.
Thank you, Maxwell. And it appears schools along the highway are worse hit as many school children are taken down by speeding vehicles. As you may have heard, the girl who died yesterday was a student of the West Africa Senior High School. Mariam Kasim is the 6th student in the school to have been knocked down while crossing the road. Many other schools along the stretch have recorded a number of deaths, with a lot more living with severe injuries. My colleague Komla Adum takes a look at the state of affairs.
On the street, then the car I saw that came to pass hit me and my legs were under the tire and it scratched me on the ground. My x-ray was shown to the neurosurgeon. Then he said that I'm having some fractures in my neck.
That was 15-year-old Form 3 students of Elim School at Madina Zongo Junction, knocked down by a vehicle 3 weeks ago.
I couldn't walk freely and go to the canteen to buy food. I had to send some of my friends to go and do that for me.
He's currently able to move only with a cervical collar, while his leg wounds are heavily bandaged.
The doctor said I shouldn't be moving my neck, otherwise I might get paralyzed.
Director of the Elim School, Gabriel Gademo, is outraged at the several knockdowns on the stretch. At least 4 of his students have been knocked down by speeding vehicles.
Lives are being lost every day. Our school children are being knocked here and there every day.
The teachers are not spared either.
We need immediate action to be taken on on this thing. In other words, more future workers, labor force of the country are being destroyed.
Directly opposite the Elim School is the La Nkwantanine DA Primary and Junior High School. Here, only last month, they buried a primary school pupil who was knocked and killed on the highway. A teacher at the school who spoke to me off record said in the last year, a parent and 3 other students were knocked down. At Adenta, parents are withdrawing their children from the Touch to Team school for fear of getting killed.
The school has lost some of their children because the parents are afraid. They come to school only to be told that they are knocked down by a car, which is worrying.
Headmaster Emmanuel Kwesi Achin Kwansa says not even the intervention by school authorities to hire wardens to help the children cross the road has addressed the situation. At the West Africa Senior High School, there has been more than 5 knockdowns since January. Entriofori is headmaster of the school.
This academic year, we've had about 6 knockdowns, but this is the only one that the student in question died in the process.
These school authorities have been recounting incidents of knockdowns on the stretch this year alone. This recent incident, they believe, should be the last of student deaths from knockdowns. But until some drastic action now, I'm afraid this will remain a dream because many more students continue to make the dangerous journey across the stretch, sometimes of no return.
Kamala Adum's report. Now, we are learning that the IGP, David Asantia Pietru, is leading a team to the area. My colleague, Kojo Yankson, is there for us at the Adenta Medina area and joins us on the line. Kojo, so what has the IGP been saying? Hello, Kojo.
Yes, hello.
If you can hear me, I was asking what the IGP has been saying. We are told that he's leading a team to the area. What has he been saying?
Well, if we caught him for a moment and asked what they were here for this afternoon, he explained that they are here to ensure that law and order is being maintained. They are supposed to be part of the temporary solution while government seeks to place a more permanent solution on the problem. So their role here is to help manage traffic, to move it along, to help people cross the road in the absence of a footbridge. This is all he was willing to say for now, because he tells us that there are 3 ministers on their way here. The 3 ministers from the interministerial committee that was formed as a result of this particular crisis. So the roads minister, the transport minister, and the interior minister on their way here right now as we speak. So he is in some ways the advanced team. He's just arrived here first, and they are awaiting the 3 ministers who will then join him to inspect the grounds and see whether the police's solution that they put in place is working.
But Kojo, what can you say about the situation there currently after yesterday's protests?
Well, there is still some pockets of unrest. There are still crowds gathering in small groups, smaller groups of 20s and 30s. Still chanting and shouting. There is still some anger. However, they appear to have left the police their devices. They haven't been aggressive towards the top brass of the police, who have been here for about 25 minutes so far. They are still hovering around the fringes and shouting out a couple of slogans and so forth, like no footbridge, no vote. But beyond that, there appears to be some semblance of calm around the footbridge where the accident happened yesterday.
You have my colleague Kojo Yankson, and with the carnage worsening but little action seen on the part of the political establishment, there's pressure from some members of the opposition for the government to sit up. NDC presidential hopeful Joshua Alabi says the roads and highway minister must be sacked. According to him, the minister's response to the issues leaves much to be desired. He spoke to Raymond Akwa on Upfront on JoyNews channel on Multi TV last night.
I think that the president must call the minister to order and just move in national security, the military, to go and fix that thing for us as early as possible.
If you were president, what would have been your reaction towards this minister?
The minister telling the whole world that even though people are dying, I'm coming from Western region to organize a press conference. Right?
Brief parliament first.
A brief parliament. Yes. Then organize a press conference before I go through the procurement processes. Okay? You are fired. The people are dying. You are fired.
You are fired.
You are fired. People are dying. You are fired. We are there for the people. And let's show it.
Security analyst Dr. Kwesi Ening has meanwhile condemned the police service's handling of the riots.
Well, one of the biggest challenges for the Ghana Police Service is that it has never known how to control crowds. Immediately, there are a couple of people gathered who seem to be agitated. The routine response is to use violence or to use tear gas. So what happened yesterday is really not a surprise. In terms of cars knocking down people and citizens getting angry, this is going to get much, much, much worse because our public safety infrastructure has collapsed. All I can say is that we need to use better intelligence, okay? Putting the policemen back on the beat to be able to understand and prevent, first to understand how communities will react when these things happen, and to be able to prevent it very quickly.
You heard that Dr. Kwesi is a security analyst. So far, residents say 194 people have been killed, but the police MTTD puts the number of fatalities at 24 with 64 injuries. But we have a statement from the Ghana Police Public Affairs Directorate on the issues. Fred Smith joins us in the studio with details. What does it say, Fred?
The statement is actually assuring residents of Adenta and its environs and users of the Medina-Adenta Highway that police is present in the area to ensure their safety. And they respond to the concern raised by Dr. Kwesi. It says preliminary investigations into yesterday's rioting show that police employed the appropriate riot control methods. However, in the process, a boy of 14 years was injured and was treated and discharged at the Nyaho Clinic in Accra. There's no record of any other injuries related to the riot control. More information in that statement, but this one is relevant to this issue.
Very well. But we're told also that Occupy Ghana has also waded into this. They've issued a statement. What does it say?
Well, Occupy Ghana says they are alarmed at the spate of pedestrian deaths on the Tetekwashi-Adenta Highway, also known as N4 in Accra, due primarily to the unavailability of safe crossing facilities on the road. The latest accident, in which a first-year female student of West Africa Senior High School was reported to have been killed, becomes the 194th reported death on the Medina-Adenta Highway this year. Although Occupy Ghana acknowledges government's statement in dealing with the situation and finds it unforgivingly belated, we assure the government that we will hold them to it. And they list a number of measures they think government should implement to ensure that everybody using that road is safe. And number one on that is specific speed limits should be implemented or imposed and enforced on that stretch of road. Number two, rumble strips should be constructed to the long stretch of road beginning from the University of Ghana to the Pantang end of the highway to reduce the unnecessary speeding of drivers. Government should replace all faulty traffic lights with modern solar-powered lights and provide extra traffic lights with a token crossing system to allow free flow of traffic lights. The public education must be extended to the public on safe crossing of the highways by the National Road Safety Commission.
JoyNews editor Fred Smith, thank you. But while people die, the reality of the situation seems to have taken a political tinge. MFA Dradosi joins me with social media comments on this. What are people saying?
All right, so this person says, sometimes you people make things look awkward in this country. After weeks of protests from innocent Ghanaians, this is what you have to say, that you inherited problems. You also inherited money and investments. Does that not matter to you? And this person, Anopoku, says, sir, it involves human lives. Reaction has been very slow. It's just not enough to say will fix. People get knocked down every day. People are dying. What are the short-term measures even before the bridges are fixed? And we can't afford to lose another life. So, MFA, those are just a few comments that have been coming.
And you happen to know Mariam Kasim, right?
Yes, we live in the same area, actually.
Sorry for your loss too. Now, social media campaign against the payment of tolls on the Accra-Tema motorway appears to be catching on, with several motorists refusing to pay for the use of the route. At least 6 videos of motorists refusing to pay the toll have been making the rounds. Jojo Kobina observed the situation on the motorway and reports that indeed motorists have vowed they will not pay their tolls until potholes on the stretch are fixed.
The 19-kilometer Accra-Tema motorway was opened to traffic in 1965, but over the years, the road has seen little maintenance, so several portions of the road has deteriorated. The stretch is riddled with gaping potholes, and in the holes are exposed iron rods, making it very dangerous driving on the motorway. Motorists unfamiliar with the stretch dangerously slump into the potholes. With the concrete on the road wearing off, it is a disaster in waiting. Motorists have started a campaign not to pay road tolls.
6 videos are circulating on social media showing drivers refusing to pay road tolls.
Amen. There is a simmering, brewing protest on the Accra-Tema motorway. Some drivers have refused to pay road tolls. They are saying that until government works hard to fix the potholes, they will not pay road tolls.
Thomas Hammond, a road toll coordinator, confirms some drivers refuse to pay road tolls.
It is true, because when they go on the road, there are potholes on the road, so they don't have to pay. Oh, that you have to tell my boss that there's the potholes on the road, so they have to repair it.
Some of the toll booth attendants say in order not to hold up traffic, they do not argue with the drivers. Ephraim just drove through the toll booth area and refused to pay.
I mean, our tire got burst on the way, and then it was just God's interference. And I can't do actually, baby. You understand? So for me, I have said it that me motorway into Atobium.
That's Jojo Kobnasa reports there. You're still listening to the Midday News here on Joy 99.7 FM. We'll take a quick break. When we return, how a father was killed and his son severely in an attack in the Ashanti region. Details after the break.
Let's go,
My name is Kwame Sefakai, and most of you know me as a media personality. But I am also a family man. The UMB mobile banking app, UMB Speed App, saves me so much time by letting me do almost all of my banking transactions on my phone. The cardless withdrawal feature allows me to withdraw cash from any UMB ATM without an ATM card. I can also pay bills, transfer money, request for a loan, invest money, and so much more. So now, I can spend less time at the bank and more time with the ones I love. Bank anywhere and anytime with a UMB mobile banking app, UMB Speed App, and get the time to do what you love most. Download the UMB Speed App from your Android, iOS, or Windows phone today. Call 0302-633-988 for more information. UMB Speed App, Digibank, let's go!
Joy 99.7 FM.
Thanks for staying with us here on the Midday News. It's time now for sports. Benedict?
Yes, MFA. Accra Heartful unveiled their new coach, Kim Grant, yesterday after he signed a 3-year deal. Aside his role as head coach, he will also serve as the club's director of football. Now, managing director of the club, Mark Noonan, says Coach Grant is expected to put the club in a respectable place in African football.
In this chair, right? The expectations of the club are threefold. 1 is to beat Kotoko. 2 is to lift trophies domestically, and 3 is to be successful in Africa. And that's the foundation that we're building. That's the expectation we have, okay? And so it doesn't matter who's sitting in this chair. That's what we're building right now.
All right, so that's Accra Heartful managing director Mark Noonan. A lot to look forward to this weekend in the English Premier League. The top lineup will be at the ETR Stadium on Sunday. That's where Manchester United, your club MFA, will take on Manchester City. Both teams on top form, so it makes it very, very interesting and tricky. The comeback kings, that's United, and also the top team in England at the moment, that's Manchester City. Join us at 1 on Local Room. There will be more discussion.
And we're meeting tonight at Soho too.
Yeah, absolutely.
See you then. And also, a 59-year-old father has been killed and his 18-year-old son severely wounded. The man is said to have been attacked while taking his son to school. JoyNews has cited photos of a man in a pool of blood while his son, who was found a while ago hiding in the bush with severe cutlass wounds to his head.
The father cannot speak with anybody because the father is traumatized, and that's what the mother needs to talk about.
The father is not speaking to anybody because he is traumatized. The mother will not even come out of the room. They are very traumatized. The most painful part is that the guy's parents haven't even taken the pain to find out the extent of damage done to the girl. She is not on health insurance, and we are taking care of all the bills. We are really hurt. All we can do is to manage.
We are taking care of ourselves as a family. Now what do? We manage it.
Erastus Asari-Donko has been following this incident and joins us on the line with more. Erastus, tell us more about this story.
Well, so in the early hours of today, we learned that a 59-year-old man has been butchered It's a spot between Tomfukrum and Insuta near New Edubiase in the Bosome district. In fact, the man died on the road, but the boy who sustained machete wounds to the head, arms, bodies, there's a huge cut to the cheek as well, was found unconscious in one of the bushes and is responding to treatment at the moment.
Erastus Asari Donko there, of course, will bring you more in our subsequent bulletins. And just before we go, parents of the 7-year-old girl allegedly defiled by her Arabic teacher in the northern regional capital, Tamale, will now be calling for doctors' re-examination of the girl. Initial medical report captured by police prosecutors confirmed penetration, but the girl, who is currently in a critical condition, is said to be bleeding from places including her vagina, anus and ears following the incident. Northern regional correspondent Martina Bugri has been speaking to an uncle of the girl.
The father cannot speak with anybody before the father is traumatized. And that's what the mother needs to talk about.
The father is not speaking to anybody because he is traumatized. The mother will not even come out of the room. They are very traumatized. The most painful part is that the guy's parents haven't even taken the pain to find out the extent of damage done to the girl. She is not on health insurance and we are taking care of all the bills. We are really hurt. All we can do is to manage.
We are taking care of all her day as a family. Now what do? We manage it.
That's the uncle of the 7-year-old girl that was raped or assaulted by her Arabic teacher. And just before we go, what's trending on social media, Maps?
Hashtag fix our footbridges now is trending, and at Mr. Kweku says, when the footbridges have been fixed, with this same energy, let us ensure that pedestrians actually use them instead of choosing the convenient or shorter option. And at Kills Skill says, find money to buy V8s quick, find money to fly to Brazil quick, find 1 million to renovate 2-bedroom house quick, find money to airlift deputy minister quick, find money to complete footbridges, no money, fix potholes, no money. Hashtag fix our footbridges now. And this one is from Jabdullah, says, National Cathedral, won't you donate your funds to help fix bridges, roads and actually save lives? What would Jesus do? Hashtag fix our footbridges now.
That's it for the midday news. There's more news when you log on to myjoyonline.com. I am MFA Apau. Thanks so much for your company.